Okay, hello everyone. I'm joined again by Neil Jakes, who's joining us for the second time. So welcome, Neil. And you're going to talk to us today about the recent council meeting, aren't you? So
yes, thanks very much again.
Yeah.
Yes, just really an update on what's been happening at the town council for the last couple of meetings.
Yeah.
The major thing at this time of year is setting the council budget for the year which starts in April 2020 on to end of March 2021.
Yeah.
And again, it's the usual process. Each committee is asked to look at what it's spent this year, what its plans are for next year, and then come up with the figure that they think they can they'll need, and that all goes to the council to then decide on the final budget. So I suppose the bit of good news for everybody is that the amount that we're charging the people of Barton is going to remain the same again this year as it has done since 2015-16.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say we're reducing the sorts of things we can do for the town.
Yeah.
Because we're in the lucky position of having all these new houses being built.
Yeah.
Means there's extra cash coming into the town council coffers because obviously each household pays towards the council tax.
Excellent.
So for a Band D property, and there aren't many of those in Barton, but that's what the council tax is always set on, it's going to remain at £44.33 for the entire year.
Yeah.
Which, and obviously Band A properties, and that's what most properties in Barton are.
Yeah.
Fewer Band B and Band C. But for those Band A to C properties, it means they'll be paying between 8p and 12p a day for the town council per household.
Yeah.
So if there's 4 of you in a household and a Band A, then that's about
3p a day.
3p a day or something like that. Yeah. Which for the obviously we don't provide services like the bins and education and social services, but for the amount of work we do for the town, I think it's exceptionally good value for money. I mean, we put on things like the Christmas festival, which is one of the more expensive things that we do. Obviously, that takes a lot of organising. Picnic in the park. We give grants to other local voluntary organisations to help them with their work. Yeah. We provide extra litter bins or replacement litter bins, and we've just agreed to put one outside the chip shop on High Street, Finkel Lane corner. Yeah. Because that's a very small plastic one which keeps getting damaged and overflowing. I mean, people want to put the litter in there, but if there's bin not there to do it, they can't. Yeah. So we've agreed to spend about £400 on a new metal bin there, which obviously North Links will empty for us. We do the bulb planting, tree planting coming up this year, and we're obviously all, as I think I've said before, consulted on all local planning applications. Yeah. So there's a lot that the town council does do. Yeah. And as I said, luckily we can afford to continue to do this within the same charge to local people. Yeah. Because more houses are being built.
Yeah, that's good. I for one am pleased to hear that. I'm sure many residents will be. With costs these days, it's nice that something stays the same.
Yes, that's not to say that the North Links council precept will stay the same. Yeah. But, don't shout at me when that goes up. That's beyond our control, I'm afraid, as a town council. But we're doing our bit. Yeah. Because obviously your council tax bill will include elements for the police force, for the fire brigade, as well as North Links council, and the amount that's charged to you for the town council as well.
Awesome. So, are there any other figures worth of note from the report? I know we spoke off air. So we've got some money in the bank.
Yes, we've got general reserves of £133,000. Yeah, and also we've allocated from reserves for particular projects for next year another £32,000. Yeah, and then we've also set aside £30,000 for repairs to the assembly rooms, which belongs to the town council. Yeah, and that's all set against an annual revenue budget, what it costs to run the council every year, of £175,000. Yeah, excellent. So it puts it all into practice, and we can use the reserves for things that crop up. Yeah, like emergencies, unexpectedly. Like there was one at the last town council meeting where it appears that the the company that was selected to do the new set of footpaths in Baysgarth Park at the southern end,
Yeah.
or top of the park, unfortunately they've gone bust.
Right.
And the next lowest tender was considerably more expensive than the one that was accepted from the company that went bust.
Mm-hmm.
So the town council was able to dip its hand into its reserves and allocate another £10,000 towards getting that project done.
Right.
Because if we hadn't done that, then we would have lost all the other grant money that's come in from other sources, which has got to be spent before the end of the financial year.
Right.
So that's a good example of how we can actually put a little bit of money in towards helping a much bigger project.
Yeah, so it's prudent to keep a bit in the reserves.
Definitely prudent to keep it in reserves. In fact, legally we're required to, but
Right.
I think we've got more than we actually must have. So if we're able to help out in situations like that, it's all very good.
Good position to be in.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So just on the figures then, how does everyone access this? I know that obviously they're public, but how do we...
Yeah, I mean, there is a summary which doesn't go into a huge amount of detail, but that's always published in the Bartonian.
Yeah.
And that'll be coming out early April, I think,
Yeah.
in time for the annual town meeting.
Yeah.
And then the documents that go towards... all the documents that go to the town council
Mm-hmm.
will be available on the town council website in due course. So
Yeah.
this one, which lists what's being each committee is wanting for next year, and also the amount we've got in reserves and so on, that'll be on the town council website fairly shortly.
Super. So that leads us on to quite nicely. So you want to talk about the Barton Cleethorpes railway proposal?
Yes, there's potentially quite an exciting opportunity for us. In that the government recently announced that they were putting £500 million aside to support feasibility studies into opening railway lines that were closed in the 1960s by poor old Dr. Beeching, who's not got himself a good reputation, but there you go. And so I put a proposal to the last town council meeting that we ask North Links to pursue some of this money for a spur that goes off the Barton Cleethorpes railway line at Ulceby and goes direct down to Barnetby.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could have trains going direct from Barton to Barnetby,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously on to Lincoln. At Barnetby you can change for the rest of the network across to Manchester, Sheffield, get to Doncaster. You've got the north-south routes, cross-country routes, so it really would open up access to the wider railway network for people in Barton, and of course I suppose people in Hull. It's quicker probably to come across by bus from Hull to Barton, pick up the train there, go direct to Lincoln, than it would be to go all the way out to Goole onto the Doncaster line, back round again. So the potential there for Barton, and also obviously bringing people in, the impact on tourism and people coming into the town could really be quite significant. So I'm really hopeful that we can get a chunk of this 500 million to see if it's feasible to get it going again for passenger services. Yeah, it's still used for freight at the moment. Yeah, so the line's in there. But obviously Barnetby being one of the busiest intersections, certainly in the area, if not the country, is the whole timetabling thing will be an issue. Right. But where there's a will, there's a way, is my view. And let's get this feasibility money to have a look at that and see if it's. So it's at the stage where we're trying to get a bit of the money to get a study into how feasible it is to. Yeah, spot on, absolutely, yeah. But it's not non-town council job to do that, unfortunately, so that's why I put a proposal in to ask North Lincolnshire Council to get hold of the government and see if they can get some money coming our way. I mean, they've allocated quite a lot to lines in Fleetwood in Lancashire and Blythe Valley up in Northumberland. Yeah. They're already closed and apparently no track in place, so obviously they're going to be a lot more expensive. Yeah. But this one strikes me as... bit of a no-brainer really. If the track's already there, it's still in use, it's just a question of whether we can fit passenger trains in as well. Yeah. And then of course you've got to persuade the people who run the line, which at the moment is Northern, and they've just been taken into government control, right, to actually put the trains on. So there's a lot of variables, but the first step is it possible to do it? Yeah. So time frames, what do you estimate that will be quick, or will it be
it's quite a slow thing.
Without being too rude to any of these companies, like Northern and Network Rail, North Lincolnshire Council rather, has been negotiating with them for about the last 4 years to try and get the lease signed for the rest of the land at the interchange.
Right.
So that we can then extend the car park to the interchange along the lines that Barton Civic Society drew up last time, which I think you featured on when we last spoke.
Yeah. So that leads us quite nicely onto that then. So what's the situation with the new station situation then?
Well, there's apparently there's around £200,000 allocated for improving car parking in Barton in the North Lincs Council capital budget. That's money for special projects rather than day-to-day running.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Civic Society did the costings about a year ago now, in fact it would be, the total cost came out to just over 350,000.
Yeah.
So we got 200,000 there. If you round it all up for sake of argument that it's going to cost 400,000 to do the whole project, then we're halfway there. But the government, as part of this new initiative investment in rail, have also announced a new stations initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So again, part of my proposal to the Town Council, which again was accepted, was that we asked North Lincs Council to apply to the new stations initiative for the balance of the money to upgrade the passenger facilities in line with the idea of extending the car parking, putting a waiting area in for bus and train passengers, which goes along the side of the current where the platform is, and generally smartening the area up so it's a welcoming entrance to Barton rather than a bit of a oh dear what's happened, which a lot of visitors will see if they come in on train for the first time. Yeah, but it all links very nicely with the idea of getting trains direct to Barnetby and Lincoln to connect Barton to the rest of the county. Yeah,
there's certainly a lot of potential there, isn't it, to bring all these projects together. Hopefully the future is bright for rail travel in Barton.
Well, let's hope so, because it makes so much sense in many ways. I mean, a direct train from Barton to Lincoln will save pressure on the A15, which is, as we know, one of the most dangerous roads in the country. It's obviously better for the environment, and we reduce our carbon emissions. And if we as a society are serious about trying to persuade people to get out of the car and use public transport to reduce carbon emissions and pollution, then we've got to provide people with a viable alternative. Yeah. And so investment in the train service has got to be one of them. And of course investment in our buses has got to be another. But that's perhaps a future initiative we'll talk about later.
Okay, so the final thing we spoke about off air was a new 20 mile an hour speed limit on Fleegate. Let's talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, again, it's something that I've personally been very keen on for a while, and various other organisations in the town have as well. And through a study that was presented to the Town Council's Environment Subcommittee just before Christmas, we've got agreement from the Town Council now to approach North Lincolnshire Council to ask them to consider putting a 20 mile an hour speed limit on Fleegate. Now, there's a number of reasons why this is important. I mean, everybody knows that Fleegate, from where the White Swan up towards where Herons and Boys are now, is very narrow. It's one way, and it's also a really historic street. There's one of the oldest domestic buildings it's the oldest domestic building in Barton, 51 Fleegate, which is the remains of a medieval merchant hall stuck in there. And apart from the 30 miles an hour, obviously the danger people present if accidents happen to pedestrians. There's a lot of traffic up and down there. The pavements are very, very narrow. Yeah. So and pushing a buggy up down the one side of it is virtually impossible. So, people going too fast up there are a real danger to pedestrians. But the other thing is the pressure that vehicles going at 30 miles an hour the air pressure they exert on some of these historic buildings is much, much less if you can persuade them to travel at 20. Right. And so there is not only the potential danger to the public, but there's real existing danger to the historic buildings, who many of them don't have any foundations and will be suffering, especially when lorries don't obey the weight restriction, which is enforced on Fleegate. And if they go up there at 30 miles an hour, you imagine one of those big Arctics, big blank front it has, the amount of air pressure that's pushing out
Yeah.
as it goes up. Well, you feel it yourself when you're walking along, don't you? If
Yeah.
a vehicle goes past you. So it's many reasons why we think it would be a good idea, and the town council supported this, and again we see what North Links will do for us.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, eh? So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about from the latest council meeting?
I suppose one thing to flag up is the annual town meeting.
Yeah.
When it'll be in the assembly rooms, and gives everybody the opportunity in the town to come along and question the town council about what they've been doing, what their plans are.
Yeah.
There's normally officers from North Lincolnshire Council there who can take direct questions. The police are there,
Yeah.
who can take direct questions. And that annual town meeting for the public will be held on Thursday the 9th of April at 7 o'clock in the assembly rooms.
Super.
Normally a reasonable turnout, but it would be great if we could get a really healthy turnout, and perhaps people hearing about it through your programmes will help encourage people to come along with questions.
Let's hope so.
You're meant to submit questions in advance, and details of how to do that will be in the next Bartonian, which, as I mentioned, will be coming out early April. So
yeah,
it's always a good opportunity, and if people don't come and ask questions or say, "Why don't you do this?"
Yeah, now's your opportunity.
Good opportunity. Yeah.
So
there's another consultation coming up next week, I gather. Only just found out about it. Consultation on the local plan is taking place on next Wednesday at Baysgar School. Don't know the times yet on that one, but it's a little bit short notice, unfortunately, with only a week to go. But the local plan is such an important document because that will set the development of the town and how we develop over the next 10 years or so.
Right.
And I understand, although get that be confirmed because I don't know the details, that it'll also have information about the route of the proposed relief road to take the heavy traffic out of the town centre.
Right.
And on such an important issue, I really do think, and in fact I've asked this already this morning, I've asked North Links to consider putting in a second date in March sometime, which is much better advertised, to give more people an opportunity, because it's such a vital document.
And it will affect so many people.
And it affects so many people, and obviously the heavy traffic is such an issue in the town at the moment that everybody really should be given a decent opportunity to have their say. And a week's notice,
not enough.
I don't think is enough. No.
Yeah. Okay. So how about just finally, how about personally, have you been managing to get to the allotment much, Neil? Or?
Oh yes, the allotments. Yeah, despite all the weather, yes, it's been getting up to the allotment a fair amount. I've almost finished my winter digging, as it were. Intending hopefully to get out and plant some shallots this afternoon if the weather holds.
Yeah. And
we're actually in the situation of, I think, almost having every plot taken, which is great. But we're still keen for people to sign up to be on the waiting list. Yeah. Because of course, if and it does happen for all sorts of reasons. People move out of the area. Yeah. They find it's too much, or whatever. Allotments do become available throughout the year. So if you're on the waiting list, you've got a pretty good chance of getting one fairly quickly. And again, that's on the Barton Allotment Society website. Yeah. Of how to apply. So. So encourage everybody to do that. Obviously, very good for your mental and physical well-being, and also you get great food to eat at the end of it. So what's not to like? Yeah, it's a win-win, surely. A bit of hard work, but, keeps you fit. Exactly. Why not? Well, listen. Thank you very much for joining us again today, Neil. I personally have got a lot out of it. I hope the members and the listeners have got quite a bit out of it. And just give us a quick recap of when the meeting is, the annual town meeting. The annual town meeting, Thursday the 9th of April, 7 o'clock in the assembly rooms. Perfect. Thank you very much.